we put up a post on Instagram yesterday, ironically, talking about how we were going to go live discussing this news today. And there were a lot of comments from people saying things like, no, these shouldn't be remade. They're so perfect. Like, that's not what they're saying.
No, I don't see that at all as these are remakes. No. These are expansions. This is the expanded universe of Tolkien now, which you could take in good or bad. I mean, I feel like most of us have been hurt by recent events. So I think there's going to be a lot of negativity towards this.
Yeah.
However, this is not Amazon. It is not a TV series. They are individual feature films.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we know things like Marvel and all have come in. They've done amazing. They've continued on too long and maybe become worse for the want of trying. But that's not to say anything that is to be made these days is going to be awful.
It's true. I'm trying to listen to you and read comments at the same time. Yeah, it's not going to be a remake like I was just saying, but there's some comments here that are making me think. Like, I kind of want to know, before we talk about what we could possibly get out of this announcement, what the potential films could be, I kind of want to know, I guess, our thoughts, but I'll start with you, I guess. Like, what are your thoughts on this announcement? Is it exciting? Is it worrying? Is it daunting? Is it what is it? Tell me.
I would say exciting. It's definitely something that, I mean, we said it from when The Rings of Power was announced all those years before. You cannot have a good adaptation if you don't have any adaptations.
It's true.
And the Lord of the Rings movies showed great adaptations are possible. If they had made The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, even the cartoon ones back in the day, and then Rings of Power, and every single one of them had been awful. Every single part of every single one was just one of those which, like, why did you bother with any of these?
Yeah.
Then I could understand why you would then go, why'd you keep trying?
Yeah.
Flogging a dead horse is just not worth it. However,
Leave it alone.
The Lord of the Rings was just that good, and everyone knows that there is no reason whatsoever that it cannot be done again. Okay, yes, you can't, like, trying to catch lightning in a bottle twice is one of those things they say you shouldn't try and do. You shouldn't go back just for the sake of going back, but I think they would have learned some lessons with The Hobbit on the mistakes of doing that.
Yeah.
Because obviously they've said Peter Jackson and his team are involved, or at least they've been involved.
They're in
talks.
discussions. Yeah.
They've been involved in talks, which means that basically confirming everything's going to be set in that universe.
Yes.
Which I think is a good thing. I mean, it's what Del Toro was going to have done in the first place with The Hobbit. Is Peter Jackson was there as like a producer to talk to about it, but he wasn't supposed to be making the thing. Which I think is, if they go that route, I think that's the best way to do it. Give a fresh pair of eyes and ears and whatever the chance to go with it, but let someone who has proven they can do it with the right amount of time, I will add, let them be involved in some way to help you.
Yeah. I agree. The fact that they are talking to Peter Jackson about this, again, it doesn't confirm, but it does tell us that it will be set in this I guess, New Line Cinemaverse.
Yes.
Which for me is ideal. I think it's obvious that to me that The Lord of the Rings is the greatest movie trilogy ever made. Like, what an accomplishment in cinema.
Yep.
The only concern I have is those movies were made about 24 years ago.
Yes.
They started shooting in 1999, I believe. So it's difficult to involve key characters that we are familiar with without recasting, because so many of them have aged so much.
Yes.
Which could lend itself to be, I don't know, not awkward, but it's going to stir people the wrong way, I think.
Yes.
Like, imagine seeing a different Aragorn or a different Gandalf. Like, they would hurt me.
Thing is, I could accept it if it made sense. So say, for example, like one of the big ones that people are talking about, which had been the rumors for Amazon series for a while, was the Young Aragorn show.
Yeah.
Or now Young Aragorn potential film.
Yeah.
The early adventures of, if going off with Elladan and Alvor here and serving in Gondor and Rohan and basically doing all that side of things. Recasting that, no problem. Because
I agree.
I get, well, I mean, obviously they're doing it age differently anyway, so you should, in theory, you shouldn't look too different, but I wouldn't have as much of a problem with that. Okay, Gandalf is a hard one. Seeing anyone but Saria McKellen as Gandalf is, like, painful.
Yeah,
almost.
literally.
So, yeah, I get it, but I know that there are people who could do a great job. And again, this feels like such deja vu with this, over the way we talked about the Rings of Power beforehand.
Yeah.
But I will stick with how I was, and we both were before that came out, is I will be hopeful and I will be positive.
To be honest, I'm considerably more positive for this than I ever was for the Rings of Power, purely because we know the team involved have already produced
Yeah.
the greatest movie trilogy of all time.
Yes.
There are very few negatives I could pull out of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Don't get me wrong, there's some. There are some, but very, very few. Whereas you look at Rings of Power, I could be here for an hour. Didn't mean that to rhyme.
That's just episode 1.
Yeah. But I guess that kind of leads us on to talking about the potential possibilities. You've already, of course, mentioned the fact that there could be a young Aragorn
Yes.
spin-off, I guess.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the stories that I would like to see. There's also the potential of them doing, like, I guess not, it doesn't work so well with films. I was going to say, like, more of a Black Mirror type thing where everything kind of, but it doesn't work so well in films. I don't want to see, like, a young Aragorn trilogy. I'd like everything to be standalone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think that is where I'm worried that they will mess up, because obviously they turn The Hobbit into a trilogy. They go, trilogies are great. Trilogies make us money. And regardless of what people say about The Hobbit, it made a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
So from their point of view, it's hard to think that they'll look at that and go, oh, well, we did something wrong here because we only made $1 billion. You're like, well, no. For their point of view, they'll go, well, let's do it again. But yeah, like young Aragorn doesn't deserve, not even doesn't warrant, but I would be worried if they did a trilogy. Your mic is crackling real bad.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
Is it both of us, or is it just his still, or has it swapped now?
Either way, it's going to be internet connection because we record with these mics all the time, not live, and they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've lost my trail of thought now.
Things about doing trilogies.
Yeah, I really don't want them to, they cast a young Aragorn. That's really annoying. Should we just pass your mic back and forth?
You can only listen to me now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what I don't want to happen is for them, let's say they cast a young Aragorn. I don't want them to start filming this young Aragorn with this fantastic story they've written and be like, this is good. Let's stretch this out and then make it crap. We could get, this is so good. People are going to love this. Let's get 3 movies out of this. Triple the amount of money. Like, that's what I don't want. That's exactly what happened with The Hobbit. It was unnecessary, and that's what ruined it. We had so much unimportant, pointless stuff in The Hobbit that it ruined the trilogy. So that's my concern. I hope they just stick with, let's just give us different parts of Middle-earth. Let's show us the war in the north, show us the Angmar War, show us a young Aragorn, show us the hunt for Gollum. I don't know, all these different things, but not stretch anything out over multiple movies. That's important for me, I think.
Yeah, because there's a big thing about, I'll bring up this call in a minute, because I'll kind of address this with what I'm saying, which is why not bring back Viggo? He's still an active actor. One of the things that kind of gets me at the moment is they do try and bring these older actors back, and then you CGI to make them look young.
Oh, don't do that.
You can get moments, like screenshots, that look decent, but then you get so much uncanny valley-ness in a lot of it. And to be honest, sometimes a younger actor deserves the chance.
Yeah.
And okay, I would give anything to have a young Viggo Mortensen coming back and playing a role like that himself, but sometimes you got to accept these things aren't the way to go. Like, say with the War of the Rohirrim movie, that Miranda Otto is involved, but it feels like obviously she's like a voiceover, narrator, telling the story or whatever. Like, you could almost try and do that as a theme. Like, it's almost like Aragorn as king, telling a story of some adventures he had when he was little or something. You could do that, and then you have an older Viggo, and
that'd be great.
You get to see him as like the king in his, like you get those old Aragorn pieces of art that look amazing, just something like that, like there with Arwen, his kids, everything, and just like telling a story which goes into it. It doesn't need to be much. Okay, maybe a bit fan servicey to a point, but if it's done right, it could work well.
I agree. I'll bring this comment up as well. Like, why not? What if Viggo came back as Arathorn? That's another possibility. Yeah. Why not recast Aragorn with a younger actor and have Viggo play Arathorn? It's possible.
That. Yeah.
Also, there's no reason we can't have both. We could have a movie based on young Aragorn's adventures, with a new actor, giving somebody else an opportunity to play this fantastic character. But then there's no reason why we can't have a fourth age Aragorn story where Viggo does reprise the role, and we see what happens in the Fourth Age with, bringing up kids and ridding the world of remaining evil. Like these sort of things definitely are possible.
I suppose it becomes a hard one of going, how much are they going to be making up for these films, and how much is it going to be what's already been written? Obviously, we know a rough set of events that happen with Aragorn's life, so you can do a certain amount of things. But then, like, having a film that maybe deals with Aragorn, and once he reaches that age where he's going to die and he's leaving everything to his children and all of that, like, that would be a very interesting character film to see. Maybe I'm thinking it reminds me more of like Logan in the X-Men universe as opposed to the X-Men films. Like, something a lot more character driven in that world could be a really nice change, and almost like a way of them going, look, we're going to make you great films based on this universe. We're not just going to CGI everything.
Oh, I hope
like
not.
That could be a really nice way of them coming into it going like, look at this character, look what he's going through. We're going on a journey with him. We don't need a big spectacle. Okay, yes, we'll have moments. Might get a flashback of this, that, and the other. There's going to obviously be some kind of action in this world anyway, but it's not the focus. And I think that could be a really nice way of doing it. Saying that, I don't think there's any chance they'll do that. I think they're going to go spectacle.
Probably, yeah.
Because that's what's worked in the past. But I just feel like it's there for them to do and show them why they're different to what else is being done.
True, but having said all that, what's interesting about Middle-earth is different areas of Middle-earth are so contrasted in the vibe, if you know what I mean. So you could literally, someone in the comments just said something about a horror movie exploring things like the Barrow Wights. Like, that's a great idea. Like, you could literally have a terrifyingly adult horror movie about things like the Barrow Wights, or even the origins of the Nazgul. Like, you could make these things really, really dark. And then in the exact same universe, in the same continuity, you could have a comedy, but it's set in the Shire.
Yes.
And it works. They work as part of the same universe, but they have completely different vibes. So you can have different demographics for your, different audiences for your demographics. You can have completely different audiences for your genres, but it all works within the same world. And I think that's a big opportunity right there that they probably won't explore.
No. Again, I'm going to say it again. Deja vu of when we knew Amazon were going to be making a show. Before we even knew what the show was. We know as fans what potential is out there. Now, you just got to hope that having someone like Peter Jackson involved, okay, yes, he changed a lot for his movies. But they are still considered great, which shows it can be done and altered. And I just feel like they need to listen to the fan base a bit. I'm not saying let the fans write what you're going to make.
No, I think it's extremely important they listen to the fans this time.
Yeah, but I think they need to take more on board from us as a fandom.
Yeah.
Like, we're not a stupid group.
No.
We love Tolkien for a reason, and seeing it butchered is basically blasphemy.
Yeah, it's awful, right?
It's like one of the worst things you could do to us who enjoy this.
And by us, we mean the Tolkien fandom as a whole, not just me and James, right?
Oh yes, yeah. I'm generalizing all of us. I'm putting you in my little group together here at the moment. But yeah, it's like there's so many of us that they could contact, and just find out a little bit about what we want, what would be accepted, what would be going too far. And I think that's one of the main ones. Like I said, we can accept changes generally, but there is a ceiling to that.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of people bring things up about maybe they could make films on Children of Húrin or Beren and Luthien. Now, the announcement specifically states the rights to Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. So I'm going to assume that they wouldn't be able to do anything like that. But it'll be interesting to see how far they can push that. So
my guess would...
I was going to say, let's move this on from young Aragorn.
Yes.
I want to see if they could push this on to like previous stories from existing characters. For example, could they do the Angmar War and the rise of the Witch King? That's like another great story that has never been explored, and it does technically link into the Lord of the Rings, right? Because it's essentially a part of a prequel.
Yeah, and I will just say, art by Anato Fenstark, incredible.
Oh, so good, so good,
so good. If you like art and you've never heard of him, God, please go check him out. But anyway, sorry, another point right now.